Welcome to this video lecture series on ITIL Foundation. This is topic 5, Key ITIL Practices, V02, Change Enablement. Welcome back, friends. It's always a joy to see you. We'll continue our series on some of the important practices now that interact with the service value chain and help us produce the service value streams. For this video, we're going to be studying change enablement. Now, change is an addition, modification, or removal of some configuration item. In other words, something important that could affect our service levels. Our goal here is to maximize successful changes by reducing risk and disruption. As we do more of that, as we have more success with our changes, the organization's change appetite will increase. The purpose is to ensure changes are carried out in a controlled way. All changes must be assessed and all changes must be authorized by an entity such as our Change Approval Board. So this is actually part of risk management, a formal process of risk management. Now there's 3 types of changes. Standard change, which is generally going to be pre-approved, low risk, repeatable. It could be something you interact with that the user interacts with right on a website and fulfills it right from a website. For example, new toner in our printer or more paper for our printer. A normal change is when someone has something a bit larger with a bit more risk and they raise an RFC, a request for change, and that will be fully assessed and authorized or denied by an entity. If it's a fairly small one, it might be someone such as myself, the change approval manager. If it's a bit larger, it'll go up to the Change Approval Board. If it's larger than what they can handle, it might go up to the steering committee. And if it's higher than even they can handle, the chairman of the board and the board members. Now there's another version of this, like a normal change, but when it's urgent, and that's called an emergency change. We will fast track it, and it will be approved because there's a special version of the board to the Change Approval Board called the Emergency Approval Board. We still need to contact them and we still need to get their approval. A lot of people wrongly think that the steps that we do in a normal change are reduced when we're doing an emergency change, but that's not necessarily true. What's often the case is we do them in a different order because we're under pressure to roll out some kind of change. Now, there is a trick here. There's not many tricks on the exam usually. It's not designed to be tricky. But here's one where they actually try to trick you quite often. They'll have a question like, which of the following 4 is not a standard or normal change type? And they'll list standard change, normal change, emergency change, and pre-approved. Pre-approved is not a type of change. It describes an aspect of standard change. Keep that in mind. Watch for it. I've seen it on at least 2 exams. Now there's a flow to this. We will raise a change request if it's a normal change. It will be assessed, therefore, for risk and impact to make sure that the benefits will outweigh the negative, the disbenefits, which will be, of course, risk and cost. If it's authorized, then we'll let the person do the planning, test it to make sure it works, show us that they have a rollback plan, and show us that they have testing for after it's rolled out, which is quite often called a recursion test. And then we'll notify the users and schedule the change. We'll implement the change, and if it's good and it passes the test, we'll just document it, and if it's not, we'll roll it back and we'll document that. And then we'll close out that particular chain. In the workplace, as an example, you might have something like a password reset, which is fully automated. This is a standard change. Someone might go to a kiosk or a web page somewhere and update their password on their own. Someone might need to upgrade a system to a new version, and that would be a normal change. We would raise a request for change. It would be studied. It would be carefully planned and rolled out and tested. Now, we might have a critical situation, which is an emergency, like we feel like we're being hacked. It looks like we're being hacked. And so we quickly roll out a patch we're not fully done testing yet. Rest assured, After things have become more calm, we'll finish that full testing of that patch. In all circumstances, all changes are logged, assessed, and tracked. For the exam, remember, not all changes require the change approval board. Standard changes are generally going to be pre-approved, but pre-approved is not a type of change. Standard is the type. Emergency changes are not unapproved. There's an emergency approval board. Change enablement is a type of risk management. It's not for speed, it's not for improvement. It is a very formal process of risk management. Assessment and authorization are always required. Thank you for joining us for this video lecture. We look forward to seeing you again very soon.